What's going on, y'all? Welcome to today's episode of Solutions. So on today, I'm going to be talking about if politics and religion is really the solution for us. So make sure y'all stay tuned. I'm going over some good topics, potentially controversial, but hear me out and take from it what you will and apply it to your life how you feel would be beneficial for us as a people. With that said, I pray that y'all having a blessed day. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the video. So what do I mean when I ask the question, are these things really the answer for us? And I'm gonna start with religion because it's probably the easiest example. You know, when we talk about God, specifically Jesus and how he died on the cross, and this is a very controversial perspective. And this is something that I've learned from developing a personal relationship with God. And I want that to be the foundation so y'all understand. Now, same concept applies for people that are Muslim or Jehovah's Witness, however you believe. You as for black people, you need to understand this concept. To say that, you know, he died and rose again and he was crucified and it was so terrible. You know, when will we acknowledge our ancestors that went through crucifixion on a daily basis, that were born into slavery, and when they became strong men were castrated and hanged and their wives taken by the masters? We really have to ask ourselves, what are we doing in our neighborhoods? Like, yes, you're praying, but what are you actually doing for your community? Like, it's easy for you to go in your room and pray and then go watch the news and then go pray again because something you watched on the news was worse than what you heard yesterday. But are you raising up your son to be a strong young black man, or are you spoiling him? Or are you letting him run free in the streets and wear a ski mask and carry a button? Are you raising up your daughter to be a wife, or are you raising up your daughter to be a manipulator? Or are you raising your daughter up to be a whore because you have men coming in and out of the house as a single mom? Kids don't care about what you're telling them. They care about what you're showing them. The only reason kids know how to walk is because they watch us. The only reason kids know what language to speak is because they reiterate what they hear from you. So how much more do you think your actions affect their life choices? We have to understand that, I ain't gonna talk about Israelites and Jews. That's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you are locked in, because as long as we're relying on politics, or God will show up in your life. I'm a personal testament, but prayer alone is not going to get you to where you want to be. It's not going to get us as a collective to where we want to be, because everybody talking about pray for Chicago and it's been progressively getting worse. They didn't send the National Guard to our neighborhoods, knowing damn well that economic stimulation is the solution. When those European immigrants came over here, there was mortgage discrimination because they knew that if this group can buy assets and this group can't, then this group is going to suffer and this group is going to thrive. 20 years down the line, where are most people's wealth tied up? The traditional 9-to-5 worker, their wealth is tied up in stock options and in their home. So if you couldn't even buy a house, where do you expect your people to be economically? And you have to realize this, because for black people, we've allowed religion. It's the difference between religion and having a real relationship with God. We've allowed religion to block our minds, to really cloud our judgment, because you have no problem with your son going and working a random W-2 job at Amazon, but if he wants to start a business, it's a problem. If he wants to go to school, it's a problem. Or you don't want to help him out like you had that child. Like, to all the young one out there, this is not your fault. You didn't ask to be born. This is the parents' fault. If your son is wearing a ski mask, it's your fault. You the one that had a kid knowing you couldn't afford one. Knowing you couldn't afford to live in a neighborhood where they wouldn't be exposed to that. Did nobody ask you to lay on your back? Let's be real. Like, we have to have real conversations. Y'all want to talk about prayer, you need to pray, God, teach me how to be a better parent. Teach me how to raise my son properly so he grows to be a provider for his wife. We can't even have that conversation because you didn't get married before you had me. That's the problem. It ain't got nothing to do with Kamala Harris. It ain't got nothing to do with God. That was your doing. Like, we have to be real with ourselves. God gave you the blueprint. The Bible is literally a book of stories. Hey, this is what you shouldn't do. We know you can recite a verse from Luke chapter 4, Peter 1 Peter. You know which one it is. 1 Peter, 2 Peter. But you don't live by it. What do you think your kids are gonna do? They're gonna see you as a hypocrite. And they're gonna go and they're gonna do what they see everybody else doing because you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, if you did, you wouldn't have to kick me out at 18. You would be financially free. Or you would have instilled any whatsoever type of skills into me. That's on you. As far as politics, I told y'all this was going to be controversial. Whether you blue or red, I really don't care. We have to understand that, same thing I said previously, if Kamala put out $200,000 grants for black startups, do you understand operations? Do you understand sales and marketing? Do you understand bookkeeping? Do you understand hiring? Do you understand how to create a high quality product? Taking it back to the parents saying they're not gonna support their kid that's trying to start up a business. How do you think Apple came about? How do you think Tesla came about? How do you think Honda came about? Toyota, the gas stations, the grocery stores. Somebody created them. And the difference between black people and non-black people is they work together. Like if you haven't noticed it already, non-black people, even if they don't like each other because they from different regions or whatever stupid reasons they have for getting into it, they're gonna collaborate to dominate us. But black people would isolate themselves to dominate black people, to show non-black people that they're the dominant Negroes. What are we talking about? We have to sit down. How can we be proactive? How can we be successful under this office? Whatever you want to say. How can you be successful? What are they doing with their money in this time? Yes, they did a number on our people. Yes, you may not be happy with where we are politically right now. And sending the National Guard to a community is not good. Whether you blue, black, brown, red, green, orange, nobody cares. Throwing tear gas at known U.S. citizens is not the answer. So we have to be proactive in how are we protecting our own neighborhoods? How are we building the black dollar in black communities? How are we capitalizing on the resources that are already at our disposal? For those of you that are in positions of power, what are you doing to put other people like you in positions of power? Oh, well, I don't want to help black people because they have this poor mentality and they always think you're the problem, or they find ways to make their problem your problem. Start with the young ones. For those of you all that know better, show the young ones, because the youngins, they the ones that's always asking questions, and they the ones that's really gonna grow up to be leaders. Because I don't know if y'all ever seen a little kid with their mom in the grocery store, but that little kid is the decision maker. If that little kid wants cereal, that little kid is gonna bug the mom until he or she gets the cereal. So target them while they're young and malleable, because what do you see the enemy doing? You see the enemy putting two dads in children's cartoons. You see the enemy allowing sexual predators on Roblox, but blocking the people that voice their opinion about it, blocking the people that bring recognition to the fact that there are predators on Roblox, which is for little kids. This world is evil. As I said in a previous video, if you do not pick your future, someone else will pick it for you. We have been pacified by consumerism, meaning doom scrolling on social media, 20v1s, Kai Cenat streaming for 80 years. Nobody cares. That shit does not matter. We need essential industries. We need to own our grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, clothing stores, homes. You posted on a block with a button for a block that you don't own. Your mom's name is not on the deed. No, nor is Lil Man, nor is Shorty on the other block. You willing to go to war with somebody over how they twist their fingers, over which direction they hat is. What are you doing for people that you knew took advantage of you? What would you do? Let's be real. And then, if you do respond violently, how will that end for you or for your family? In fact, if you do it peacefully, you're even more of a threat, because the CIA murdered Fred Hampton. It wasn't a black boy. It wasn't somebody from a gang. The CIA put over 90 bullets in the Fred Hampton house, and Fred Hampton was feeding little kids on the south and west sides of Chicago. 90. In the middle of the night, they cut the power to his block and killed him in his sleep next to his pregnant wife. Why don't you know who Fred Hampton is if you're black? Why aren't you familiar with the Black Panthers? Why don't you know your ethnic last name? Why don't your parents have anything? Why wasn't your great-grandfather in the household? Where did you really come from? We don't ask the questions that matter because we're stuck in consumerism. So take a step back, familiarize yourself with the Black Panthers. I use Fred Hampton because I'm in Chicago. He was Chicago chapter. Familiarize yourself with the Willie Lynch letter. You remove the father figure from the household, and the woman raises up weak men that are taught to belittle yourself to massa. You buck break. The strong young men that are raised up, or the strong men that were brought over here in the first place, you castrate them and you hang them in front of their kids. And you tell them, hey, if you decide to be a strong black man, this is what will happen to you. This is all intentional. What we're seeing now, the black on black, that's just the side effect. That's not the root cause. Let's talk about the root causes. You want to talk about YNs and how we destroying the community? You raised them. Now, it may seem like, hey, I'm putting blame on you. Half the time it is your fault, because most of y'all, quote unquote, know better or are arrogant enough to seem like you do. Why are you the way that you are? Why don't you have anything? This isn't to be disrespectful. This isn't to be belittling. You have to ask the right questions if you want to see the solutions in our neighborhoods that y'all really want to see. The solutions you think will come from voting will come from black businesses, will come from black marriages, will come from raising up your kids with the proper skill set to go out and be competent individuals. Competent meaning servitude, like business, regardless of what industry you're working in, or as an employee or as a business owner. It's all about service. That's why they're called services. A product is meant to make someone's life easier, or in cigarettes' case, to make somebody's life worse, but you just helping them get there. Read between the lines, bro. Like, especially my young people, that's why they pushing so much on social media, to keep you distracted from the fact that they taking our rights. Because if you focus on stuff that don't matter, by the time you realize it, it's too late. Because that gun that you got is not legal. And I promise you, you can't outdo their military tactics. You're not going to beat the justice system. Is you a nappy-headed black boy on the stand? We got to be real with ourselves. And hey, what does this have to do with religion? God is the answer. God is the answer. But it's relationship. It's about taking the best example is animals. The Animal Channel. You look at the Animal Channel, you will see clear as day that life is not fair. I led with, Jesus did die on the cross for our sins, whatever you believe, but were black people not crucified every day? Were our ancestors, the blood that runs through our veins, that we know proven because we have family members that were still alive during this time? Were our people not being hanged from trees back then? Were there not children, young black children born into slavery, bred intentionally to be strong black slaves and crucified on a daily basis? We know that happened. Whether you blue, black, green, orange, Muslim, Christian, Jehovah's Witness, we have to be intentional in rebuilding ourselves. Voting is believing that voting 4 years at a time is going to solve your problems. Is it beneficial? Absolutely. Did people die for it? Absolutely. Is it our only answer? Absolutely not. We need businesses because we have self-sustaining black communities. We don't have to stay here. Let's be real. We don't have to stay here. Why would they assassinate Fred Hampton and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, but Obama still walks around? Which one is a pacifist and which one is targeting the real solutions? Not to say he didn't do anything at all, but ask yourself, why are those three the ones that we know were civil rights activists as we see today? Assassination is not out of the question. So you have to ask yourself, what's the difference? They both black, they both excellent. I'm not taking nothing away from his presidency. That's black excellence to get to that level, and he's a very poised individual. But what's the difference? You could be the running man, but can you be the one running the show? You can be the athlete, but can you be an owner? You could be a rapper, but can you control the media that goes into your neighborhoods, that dictates how your young black men and women think? We have to learn how to ask the right questions. So, like I said, it was gonna be controversial. Drop y'all opinions down below because I want to hear where y'all heads are at. And I'm completely open about the concept. This is something that God put in my spirit. Like, let's be real. Make sure y'all have a blessed day and like, comment, and subscribe. And I just pray you enjoyed the video.